Thanks.
So, clear naman yung dating ko sa inyo?
Yup, clear.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so good evening, everyone, and welcome to Microsoft X StackLeague event, to Microsoft Tech session today. Right here at the StackLeague Facebook page, and right now, I'd like to introduce myself. So my name is Ian De Torres. I'm the Developer Marketing Manager of Microsoft Philippines, and today we're going to have a technology session. We've invited some of the most Microsoft most valuable professionals of Microsoft from different areas uh, and and a lot more about technology updates that you could hear from our Microsoft MVPs. So, but before that, let me show you some videos that would inspire about Microsoft. Okay.
Azure, Kubernetes, Power BI, Xamarin. How does the developer, IT admin, analyst, or solution architect keep up with all the latest technologies? Microsoft Learn can keep you one step ahead. First off, Microsoft Learn offers free, interactive, hands-on training and is always available at no cost to you. With more than 1,000 plus courses and growing, find a wide variety of topics, including Azure, artificial intelligence, business applications, modern workplace, and Windows development. These modules offer a concise, interactive, and friendly way to pick up new skills as you venture into new career paths or start preparing for Microsoft certifications. You can complete most of them in 15 to 60 minutes. All have been translated into a variety of common languages. Want to fill in the big picture? Learning paths guide you through a series of logically connected modules. You can work along the path, gaining experience points and badges as you go. Make your own journey by creating and sharing a custom collection of modules for you and your team. And use bookmarks to save your favorites to come back to later. A personalized homepage will always keep you up to date. Learning is hands-on. The Sandbox environment uses real Azure. You are working with real resources in exactly the same manner as you would with your own subscription. When possible, you can choose your preferred platform to learn on. Want more personal instructor-led training? Microsoft Learn can connect you with a variety of qualified learning partners to take your technical skills to the next level. Want to browse through Microsoft Learn to see what it offers? Head to Microsoft.com/learn and check out your opportunities. We've created a platform to help you learn at the pace of change.
All right, so once again, welcome to Microsoft X StackLeague Tech session. So without any further ado, let me introduce to you our first speaker for this session. He's currently the country director for Xamarin Consulting, and right now he's the Microsoft Most Valuable Professional for Developer Technologies. Please welcome, let us all give a round of applause to Mr. Bryan Anthony Garcia. Take it away, Bryan.
All right. Okay. Good day, everyone, or good evening. I'm Bryan Anthony Garcia. It's been a while. So this is my first talk since 2020. I've been in hiatus for like 6 months, but I'm glad to be back. Thanks to Microsoft and StackLeague for inviting me into this. Anyway, I think we can now get started. So what I'm going to talk about today or tonight is Azure 101. We'll be talking about the basics to get you familiar with cloud and all, and of course, ultimately Azure. So let's talk about cloud computing first. So what is cloud computing? What is cloud? What is cloud computing? Initially, let's just say that you have a database, a website, or maybe a virtual machine. You'll have it live in a local machine, or maybe a physical server of yours, or maybe a company's data center, So, they live somewhere. Now, instead of living in those servers and these databases, these virtual machines, and etc., will be on a different data center owned by a cloud vendor or a cloud provider. This will now be accessible through the internet, aka the cloud. So that is cloud, and that is cloud computing. Instead of having your stuff here in local, you will have it somewhere else, which is from a cloud provider. And that makes these services available over the internet. So that is basically cloud computing. So yeah, that's a cloud. So why cloud? So there are lots of reasons why you would want to move to cloud. So first of all, the cost. So it depends usually on like how you would use these services. But normally cloud is much cheaper because you pay for what you use. You only pay for what you use. And take note, only what you use. Because in cloud computing, you only pay for the operating cost. And that means that you don't have to purchase any equipment like maybe like machines or load balancers, etc., routers, and also, in cloud, you only pay again for the usage cost. And the things that I mentioned earlier, which are the equipments, those are capital costs. So you don't have to pay for any capital costs or capital CapEx or capital expenditure whenever you use cloud. You just pay for what you use. Again, usage costs. So you can always, again, opt out of cloud if you need to. Maybe you think that your solution or your project isn't really going anywhere, you can just opt out of cloud. But if you purchase some equipment, what would you do with those right after, thinking that this is not going anywhere anymore? So that's the cloud. It allows you to be flexible as well when it comes to your money. So another thing is scalability. So scalability or scaling is one of the best reasons why you would go with cloud. You can always scale up, scale down, scale in and out with cloud. So that means that you can only scale on depending on your needs. Maybe for January to August, these are not your peak. These are just your normal months. You don't need too much compute power, just normal for your website and databases. Then on your peak months, like maybe say September to December, you need you need twice the compute power. So you can easily scale from one times the compute power to twice the compute power in just a few clicks, in just a few configurations. So that's the good thing about it. It's just as easy as 1, 2, 3, and within a couple of minutes or maybe within an hour, you'll be able to scale from one to the other. So that's a good thing about the cloud. So the next one is reliability. So cloud gives you the ability to be or gives you a lot of stuff that allows you to make your application a lot or maybe available. Sorry. To have high availability rather. So with the help of the service level agreements that these cloud providers offer you, you're now sure you're now given assurance that or guaranteed that you will have a great or high availability on your services. Not only that, maybe no apparent downtime even. So it's very reliable. It's really reliable. Another one is the ability of cloud to make your application, make your project, your solution available around the globe. And even if you're users, let's just say that you're developing your application, you're from the Philippines, and you want to develop an application that will be used by people from the US, you can easily make it highly available for them and perform perform highly on even on a different region, on a different continent. And that's with the help of the cloud providers, because these cloud providers have multiple data centers that allows you to to deploy your applications, your services on those specific regions to give the best performance for your users. So that is also one thing that cloud gives you as a user or as a consumer. And lastly, I think one of the best things or one of the most impactful things that cloud has given me is sorry, am I sharing my screen?
Brian, would you mind to share your screen if you have?
Oh, I wasn't sharing my screen at all. I didn't know. Sorry, anyway, so yeah, I was showing this is what I was showing earlier. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, again, lowering your operating costs, scalability to go up and go down depending on your needed compute power. Your reliability allows you to get a proper service level agreement with the cloud providers, so it will be highly available even if even on times that there are lots of users using it. No apparent downtime again. So, and then another one is making your services, your application highly performant on different parts of the globe. Like again, it can be perform the same as how it performs on your region to a different region, as long as you enable these geo redundancy. So again, last thing that I want to mention is the most impactful thing for me was the this one. It allows my team to be more agile as we are developing different applications, as we are innovating different solutions. Because with cloud, in just a couple of clicks, in just a couple of minutes, you'll be able uh, to deploy services such as maybe a virtual machine. If I need a virtual machine, if I need a machine which with the specific specifications, I can get it in just a few minutes. But if I do it in on premise, it would definitely take me a while, maybe a day. Of course, I would have to request for this specific specifications, and they will have to deliver it to me. So it would definitely take time. But again, cloud gives you a lot of ways to be more agile and to be more to do things quickly, to deliver features quickly and all those things. So that's the reason why I think cloud would be the better choice over on-premise. So now let's talk about the cloud service models. So cloud service models, I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but you might have heard of IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS before. IaaS meaning infrastructure as a service, PaaS, platform as a service, and software as a service is SaaS. So to give you more idea, or to give you a bit more, or to make it easier for you to understand this. Instead of cloud service models, I made, or not, I didn't really make this. Obviously, this has been in the internet for a long time now. If you've been using cloud for a while now, you might have seen this before. But this is the pizza as a service. So this again, earlier what I've shown is the cloud service model. Now this one is the pizza service model. So just to make it easier for you to understand, if you've just seen these cloud service models. So we have 4 service models here. I've included the on-premise, so you would understand the difference between the 4. And yeah, so basically this is how you would basically make a pizza. So how do you want your pizza to be made? So with these service models, it gives you choices depending on your preferred responsibilities and your preferred or preferred customization and modifications for your pizza, or maybe cloud later on. So again, let's talk about the on-premise. When you're making a pizza at home, aka on-premise, you would need a kitchen with gas and oven, and you need a pizza dough, which you're gonna make as well. And you're gonna purchase the toppings, or you're gonna slice them and put them on the pizza, and then finally cook it. And that's the time when you can eat it. So you may notice, this requires sorry, I am sharing my screen, right? Just to make it clear. Hello. Yep, I think I am. Anyway, yeah. So the other one, so that is the traditional, the on-premise one. Now, what we want is, let's just say we go with the software as a service. With software as a service, this is basically a pizza place. You're dining in a pizza place. So with this, your only responsibility is to order from the menu, and the pizza place will own all of the kitchen, the gas, the oven, the dough, the toppings, and they will also cook the pizza. So you have less responsibility, but at the same time, you'll have less customization. You have less modification on what you want for your pizza. Compared with the on-premise, you're definitely 100%. You have full responsibility, and you can always customize. You can do all the customizations that you need, and so that's the difference of those both ends of the service models. Now in the middle, we have the IS and the PaaS. So for the PaaS, what you need to do is what you need to do for the pizza is to pick the toppings that you want. Maybe you want more toppings, you want this specific toppings, and you need to cook the pizza as well. So it depends if you want it to be toasty, or maybe just just the right amount of of it in the oven. So it depends. So this but still, the rest of the stuff, the kitchen, the gas oven, and they will also give you the pizza dough. That's basically the PaaS. While the IS is basically just someone allowing you to, or you're borrowing a kitchen, the gas, and the oven from someone. You will make the pizza, you will buy the toppings, you will cut, or you'll slice them, and you will cook the pizza. You're basically just borrowing the kitchen from someone. So that's IS. So again, they have different responsibilities, different modifications that is allowed for you to do, or that they allow you to do. And that's the same thing as the cloud service models. So cloud service models, instead of pizza, you have cloud, and you have cloud services. And with this one, again, for software as a service, the only thing that you need to provide is the data and the access, but the rest of it, the application itself, the runtime, the operating system, etc., they will all be provided by the cloud vendor or the cloud provider. While for the platform as a service, you just need to provide the application itself, maybe the build or the application build, maybe your source code, and of course the data as well. But the cloud provider will still manage the rest. And lastly, for the IS, you'll be able to manage as far as until the virtual machine, but the compute power, the networking, the storage will still be managed by the cloud provider. So you get more responsibility. You get to customize your cloud service models, or to modify a lot of things on your cloud service model. But at the same time, again, you would have to do more stuff to them. So that is the cloud service model. So hopefully you're able to understand that, because that's the last time we're going to talk about that. And we're going to jump into the actual cloud provider, which is one of them is Azure. So Azure is one of the biggest cloud providers in the world. Some of them are AWS, GCP, Huawei Cloud, Alibaba Cloud. There are a lot more, but we're going to talk about Azure because it's the one that I've been using a lot. And again, Azure, it is a cloud platform that offers cloud services and to build your own solution. But of course, it doesn't offer just its own cloud services. It also offers third-party services coming from different providers. So it's a portal that you can use to manage your Azure services, your Azure resources, and also some other third-party stuff. So this is the Azure's big picture. I'm not going to talk about all of these services that Azure is offering, but maybe just to give you an idea on what they offer. These are the list. So you have compute service, you have cloud storage, you have IoT, you have AI, you have integration, security, and networking. So compute service basically offers containers, VMs, some serverless containers, and then that allows you to do microservices. Also cloud storage, disks, files, structured and non-structured and semi-structured data. You also have the networking that allows you to connect in and out of Azure, and AI for machine learning and pre-built AI. You also have what else? The IoT for IoT devices, monitoring and streaming IoT data coming from an IoT, and integrating one service to another. And lastly is the security that allows your application to be secure, allows your services to be secured. So we'll all do it on an Azure portal. So just to remind you, the Azure portal is not the only way you can manage and configure these Azure services. This is just one of the options. You can also do that on CLI, on PowerShell. But for starters, we're gonna do it on Azure portal because this is the easiest way. I'm gonna take you on a tour of the Azure portal, and we're gonna create a service, which is an app service, and let's just play around with it for a bit. We only have a few more minutes, I think, so you're not gonna get a lot. We're not gonna discuss a lot of them, but I think enough for you to understand what the Azure portal can do for you, or the Azure in general can do for you. So let's go here. So we'll just stop sharing. So let me know. Sorry, I was thinking about asking you if you see my screen, but you're not here. But anyway, this is the Azure portal. So this what you see in the Azure portal. It shows you the recent resources that you've accessed, some of the quick links here, and some of the other stuff. But before you get here, you need to create your account first. So to do that, you just need to go to portal.azure.com, and you can register, or if you have one, you can log in. You can create one, of course. You can use any email that you want, and then it will ask you for your credit card details. Why? It's for the identification. So it's not really going to bill you anything up until you use something, but only after 30 days, because you have a $200 free credits from Azure for 30 days. So whichever comes first, if if you finish the $200 credits, or you use up all the $200 credits, then the trial is gone. Or if you've gone up to 30 days, then that's the time the credits will expire. So this allows you to test out some cloud services, some Azure services. Maybe if you want to do some POCs, you can use it. And so if once you're good to go, once you think everything is working very well, then that's the time when you can jump in and really use Azure for your solutions, for your projects. So now I've already logged in. I already have an account, obviously, and this is how it looks like. So you have buttons at the top. Again, as I've mentioned earlier, you have this button, Cloud Shell. This allows you to manage or configure your Azure services or Azure resources through CLI or PowerShell. And then, but at the moment, I don't have the proper Azure storage that I need in order for me to continue with this CLI or this Cloud Shell. So I won't continue with it, and I'm just gonna minimize it. You have the list of directories and subscriptions that you have at the moment. So as you may notice, I have a lot because some of them I've used for my demos. Some of them are coming from my friends, and some of them are from clients. So if I click on them, the whole page will reload and show me the resources and services that are specifically in that directory or subscription. You also have the notifications. So you will see here the notifications that has been or that is going or currently happening or has been done in the last hour. So I can dismiss all of it, but you will see if you delete something, if you create something, if you edit or update something, you will see everything in here. Now I also have portal settings that allows you to change the language, also change the theme. Like you can change it to the dark color, or whatever you like, whatever you prefer, or maybe a high contrast theme. So it's your choice. You also have this dashboard here. So what is a dashboard? I will show it to you later, but this dashboard right here is allows you to easily or to manage the information that you see in just one glance. So later on, I will show you that. I have the help and the feedback, and that is it at the top. You can also search for whatever you need, like your resources, a new service that you want, etc. You also see here some buttons for quick links that allows you to access virtual machines that you own. So you have here virtual machines. Right now, they're all stopped, meaning they're not running at the moment. But I have these deployed on my Azure subscription. I can access them, of course, and this is how a normal virtual machine would look like. I'm not going to talk about virtual machines right now, but this is how an Azure service or Azure resource should look like. So it has different sections, like right here, settings, operations, monitoring, etc. And we have the overview that allows you to do quick stuff, like to connect, to start the virtual machine, delete it, etc. And some of the details about it. We also have here the subscriptions. So I have 2 subscriptions. This subscription is created when you, of course, add your credit card in here. This one right here is not a pay-as-you-go subscription. This is an offering from Microsoft, which allows me to use $150 of credits in a month. So that's my limit. So it always replenishes after a month. I've already used it up. So I'll still have this Microsoft Azure sponsorship, which I can use. And then when I click that, I will be able to see the invoice that I have, the monthly billing as, you'd see here. So I had one time for 1,300 US dollars. And thankfully that was canceled because I accidentally used that. But anyway, this is where you see the all of the what you call this, the cost and the billing. Anyway, so now let's create a new resource by clicking the create resource or create a resource button. So you will see there are these quick links again, which are the popular services that Azure offers. You see here that there are also third-party services that are being offered. You can click the quick starts and tutorials, and this will open up this page. And this allows you to, quickly read up on some of the on how you would create a web application. So it gives you really the step-by-step scenario on how you would be able to create an application using Azure Web Apps. So it's really good. It's really it allows you to, you can easily follow these steps, these documentations. But for now, I already know what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna click this web app, and then I can select a subscription. So which subscription should I use? Right now, I can only use one of them because the other one's disabled. I can select a resource group, or create one. So what is a resource group? Resource group is basically a container which or where your resources will live. So this should be, of course, you would rather have resources grouped by maybe projects. So if you have one project here, you have another project there, you can name the resource group by your project or project name, or maybe you can create different resource groups depending on the environment, maybe staging, production, and test. So you can do that. But again, since right now I already have a demo resource group, let's just use that. So the next one is the name. So these are the details for your web app now. So your web app needs to have a URL or base URL. So you need to provide the domain name. So, or rather the name of your website. So this will also be the base URL of your website. So let's just give it a name of My StackLeague web app. There we go. So now if I try to access this later, once this is created, I'll be able to, to visit my website. So for publishing, let's stick with code. You can use containers, but not now. The runtime, so you can select a runtime, maybe .NET, maybe Java, Node, Python, PHP, Ruby, and you can select the version that you want. Let's just stick with the .NET Core 3.1 because it's the latest stable version. I think the .NET 5 was just added a couple days ago, I believe. You can also select if you want a Linux operating system or Windows. Some works better on Linux, some works better on Windows. Let's just keep it that way. Now, region. This is what I'm talking about earlier when I talked about allowing or making your application available for your users on from different regions. So let's just say that you're from the Philippines. That is within Southeast Asia. So you have Southeast Asia here, but your users are gonna come from Australia. So your user base are Australian. So you would rather have your application deployed in Australia, maybe somewhere around or any of these three, depending on which one's the closest. So that would be, of course, what you should select. But yeah, let's select Australia East for now. So since your users are coming from Australia. So now we have this app service plan. So what is an app service plan? So app service plan contains, or is basically a computer that has a compute power that is basically that contains all your web applications. So you have a container of your web applications, which is the app service plan, and this app service plan can have multiple websites inside of it, and it will use, or these websites or web applications will share the compute power from that app service plan. So if you're thinking that you have a high service or app service plan, maybe you can lower that. Or maybe if you're thinking of deploying few more websites, you can put those websites into that, or web apps into that app service plan, just to, use your app service plan efficiently. So now let's create a new app service plan. So let's just name it demo plan. StackLeague demo plan. Okay. So now this app service plan, by the way, is only available for app services. So if you create different resources, this is not going to be the case. There will be different like configurations for those services, but specifically for app service, we have app service plan. Now, let's change the specs for this one. You have different options. We have the dev test plans, you have the production plan, you have the isolated plan. For the production plan, you have standard 1 or S1, you have premium 1, version 2, or P1 V2. And as you may notice, they have different specs. This has a 1.7 gigabytes of memory. This one has 3.5 gigabytes of memory with higher Azure compute units. And of course, it costs much higher. But apart from that, it includes features such as it allows you to use a custom domain for this one. Instead of accessing this my StackLeague web app.azurewebsites.net, we can name it stackleague2021.com. So it allows you to add a custom domain for your website. Also allows you to auto scale. So you can scale from one instance to multi-instance, maybe 3 instances of your app, of your web app, depending on your needs. And sometimes you can also you might also need staging slots for your staging deployments, your test deployments, things like that. And that's the same case for the P1 V2. While we're just doing this for proof of concept or for demo purposes, let's just use the free one. So this free or F1 or the free tier is really free. You're really not gonna pay for anything for this one. But as you may notice, it has lower specs and it doesn't have the features that you've seen earlier. So let's just apply this one and review and create. And create. So as mentioned, you will see on the notifications what's currently happening, but at the moment, nothing. It might take a minute. It might take maybe 10 minutes, depends on what service you're trying to deploy. But since this is a app service, it's really going to be quick. So it should be done in a couple of seconds, a few seconds. There we go. So let's go to the resource, and this is our app service. So our app service, same as how it looked like on the virtual machine earlier. It has its sections, and you have the app service plan here. You have the development tools, settings, etc. You can also browse it here in the quick links. You can click this, and this will navigate you to the base URL of your app service. And as you may see, this is just the template. The others show you like you can also stop this from running. You can also restart it. You can also delete it or download the publishing profile so you can deploy it locally or from locally. And you see all of the other details here. So another thing that I mentioned earlier was the dashboard. So it allows you to pin or to display the most important information that you need coming from a service or a bunch of services. So by clicking this pin button right here, I can attach this specific metric, which is the number of HTTP 500 errors that I've received from this, or that I got from this app service, and pin it into our dashboard. So I can press pin, And now I have this dashboard that shows me all of the details that I want to see, or the information in first glance. So right here, I can see the HTTP 500 errors of my app service. But then again, I don't have anything yet. For now, I think you can edit it, how the size and how you want it to be organized. You can move it from one place to another, and you can add a lot more metrics, a lot more details. But that is the dashboard. So let's go back to the home page and go back to my StackLeague web app. Now, this is what I'm seeing. What can I do in order for me to change the website itself, or the homepage? So I can go to Development Tools, App Service Editor, which is a preview at the moment. I can log in, and I can update whatever is showing in here. So might take maybe a couple of seconds. There we go. So now I can see the www root, and now I can edit the hosting start HTML, which is the only page it has. So I can say hello Stack League 2021 and save this. And now when I refresh this, I can see what I've changed for it, or the new content. So maybe if you want to maybe see some CSS files, actually tested it earlier, or not this one actually, Tree Schools templates. So I tried out the template earlier, this one. Maybe you can just copy this whole thing. Let's just quickly show you something. Now I refresh this, I can see that my website has now a different layout. So you can just paste this specifically on this HTML. But then again, this is not the only way you can deploy your application. You can deploy it through Visual Studio Publish. You can use the publishing profiles. You can deploy it even when you're developing using Node, etc. So there are lots of things, or there are lots of ways for you to deploy. But this is just the most basic way to do it, and the quickest way to do it. But yeah, that is basically how you can create a website using in Azure, and allows you to or allows your users to access your website, because this is now accessible through the internet. So in just a few minutes, we were able to deploy a web application, and it didn't even take an hour, I think. Hopefully not. But yeah, that is the Azure portal for you. Now, if you want to learn more about Azure, here's some of the resources. You can create a new Azure account with $200 free credits for 30 days. You can also learn more about Azure in this documentation. You can also check out how you would deal with app service. Here's a app service documentation, and another link for you, a YouTube link from Scott Hanselman that where he creates a new website using Azure. So I think that's all. I hope you learned something about cloud in general, and definitely in Azure. And I encourage you to use Azure more in the future, because definitely Azure makes things a lot easier for you. I think all cloud providers do that as well, but Azure, I've used it for for how many years already. I think it would really help you with your development. But yeah, I think that is all. Thank you so much for listening, guys, and that's it for me today or tonight.
All right, so thank you so much, Bryan, for that very insightful presentation about introduction to cloud and Azure basics. So later on, to all of our viewers on Facebook and tuning on live, feel free to put your questions in the comment section, and we'll do our best to answer it later, right after our three speakers presentation. So, okay. So moving forward to our next resource speaker for this Microsoft's tech session, Our next speaker is currently one of the community leaders of programmers and developers of Group, one of the biggest communities in the Philippines. And right now, he is the Microsoft Most Valuable Professional for Data Platform. So please welcome, let us all give a big round of applause to Mr. Argelo Royce Bautista.
Hello.
Argelo, get away.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you for organizing this event. Ian, hi pa. Especially doon sa StackLeague natin. Thank you for organizing that one. So let me share my screen. So for all our viewers, kung hindi pa kayo nakakapag-register, stackleague.com, mag-register na kayo and complete the challenge until the goal. So itong StackLeague na to is, what do you call that? It's a coding challenge, that focuses on the programming fundamentals. So mga puzzles sila or mga logic problems, and para kang tinetest on the 8 fundamental programming knowledge area. So ibig sabihin nun, interpretation ko lang naman to, no? Ibig sabihin nun, kung nakarating ka ng gold, competent ka in your programming. So it's not necessary na nandoon ka sa top 10 na leaderboard. If ever na merong pinanghihinaan sa inyo dahil nakikita nyo, yung leaderboard is ang taas-taas na, huwag kayong panghinaan ng loob. Kasi the goal is to reach the goal. The goal is to continuously improve yung sarili nyo by joining a challenge and researching how to make that solution. And kapag nakarating kayo ng goal, you have actually established yung skills nyo on the programming fundamentals. So, ano-ano ba ang mga bagay-bagay na, ano ba yung, what do you call this, what's in it for you, aside from the what do you call that, yung continuous improvement sa sarili mo, no? So, meron kayong, what do you call this, media recognition awards and special prizes, no? So, kung magre-research kayo tungkol sa StackLeague, marirealize nyo na JobStreet is one of their co-presenters. Kung titingnan nyo dyan, isa sa mga sinasabi rito is in partnership with JobStreet, the premier competition aims to gather tech talents across the Philippines to test their coding acuity. Kung si JobStreet ang nagsabi niyan, ano ba ang sa tingin nyo ang ibig sabihin nun? There might be possible na isa sa mga exclusive event invites nila is a networking opportunity for you to get a well-paying job. Nagbabaka sakali lang naman, hindi ko wala akong kayang i-quote na tao rito na organizer that can do that. But they have JobStreet as their co-presenter, and they're saying that you will be exposed to exclusive event invites. So again, sign up now at stackleague.com. So regarding doon sa, what do you call this, doon sa leaderboard, why am I so confident in saying that the top 10 is not just those people na may kakayahang mag-program? So naglalaro kasi ako ng Final Fantasy 14, and one of the events na sinalihan ko is yung Sky Builder rankings nila. So gagawa ka ng kung ano-anong items and then ipapasa mo, and then each item has a point. So itong top 12, iyan yung mga magagaling gumawa ng item. So 1 million yung score nila, and I was like, oh my God, paano ko kakabulin yung 1 million yan? Pero kung papansin mo, yung 1, 2, 3, the difference of the first up to the fourth is already 250K. So ganun kalayo yung kasipagan nitong first ranking na yan compared dito sa fourth ranking. And kung mapapansin mo, yung 5 or yung 6 to 12, nasa 100,000 to 150,000 lang yung differences nila. Which means magkakalapit lang yung kasipagan, yung skills nila. Actually, you can extend that, pero top 12 lang yung tinignan natin, di ba? If you're going to extend that down to the 15th placer, mapapansin mo na halos magkakasama lang sila doon sa bracket na yon. And then you will see na pagdating dito sa 16, 100K na yung difference. And then from the 16 up to the 19, medyo magkakapantay pa rin sila. Pero pagdating mo dito sa 20, makikita mo na halos 200K yung difference between the 19th place and the 20th place. So malaki yung difference between the skill netong 19 versus the 20. So this is how I interpret a leaderboard. And this might be one of the people viewing the leaderboard ng StackLeague will interpret it. Ano? So hindi naman galing yung ano. Well, I couldn't conclusively say na yung scores nyo doon sa leaderboard is equivalent to your skill, but more likely your grit, kung gaano kang kasipag mag-solve ng programming puzzles. So basically, what I'm saying is try not to pay attention on the leaderboard and focus more on solving the problems and reaching the gold tier. So if you would recall, this event is StackLeague x Microsoft Tech Series. You might be thinking na ang mga pag-uusapan natin ngayon is about what we call this. It's more about the programming puzzles. No? Kung paano kayo gagaling doon sa mismong StackLeague. But I'm sorry, but it is not. No? I am not going to talk about how you could create a better algorithm, but rather more on the cloud tech and yung Microsoft Azure and Power BI na rin. So why? Kasi the mere fact that you registered and you participated in this event, it is already an attestment na you are doing something to improve your skills. And this is a year-long event, ano? So you have a year to hone your skills and climb up the leaderboard. What I'm saying is that covered nyo na yung programming fundamentals. And we, the Microsoft MVPs, are here to expose you dun sa susunod na focus nyo after you have mastered the fundamentals. So ano yun? It's picking a tech stack. So maraming tech stack. You have the open source softwares and you have yung Amazon Web Cloud Stack, and then you have the Microsoft Tech Stack and Cloud Stack also. And you also have the Google. And in my case, Microsoft ang kaya kong i-share sa inyo kasi yun yung ginagamit ko. So I hope that's okay with you guys. So regarding that, once na nakuha niyo yung fundamentals and you're already good with the StackLeague, the value proposition of StackLeague is one of I think the value proposition of StackLeague is employability. And for you to be employable, no, hindi lang fundamentals but rather mailagay niyo sa resume niyo na marunong kayong Microsoft Azure, at least meron kayong cloud technology, no? So I'm suggesting that you go ahead and create your free account today. And gaya nga na sabi ni Bryan kanina, meron kang 200 Azure credit, good for 30 days. Aside from the 200 Azure credits, meron kang 12 months of free popular services and 25 services that is always free, even after the 12 months na. No? So ito, if you go to azure.com/enus/free, makikita mo yung listahan ng mga yung frequently used products or yung popular services na free for 12 months. No? You have two kinds of virtual machines. You have yung storage, para nyo sa virtual machines mo, syempre, SSD yan. And you have other storage like the blob, yung pang FTP mo, and yung file storage. And you also have a SQL Server SQL database. No? I think pwede kang pumili dyan ng MySQL, MariaDB, or SQL Server. Bahala ka. And you also have lots and lots of other services, including yung machine learning. I think later, we have a speaker for the machine learning and AI. So siya na, covered niya na yan. And then you have the products that are always free. Na even if after 12 months, di ka pa rin nag-subscribe, you can always do this. And nakita ko kanina doon sa comments, no? I'm reading the comments doon sa StackLeague page. And one of the question is, if we have a trial version, can we still use the web app? So ito na yung sagot sa tanong mo. Yes, you can use it and you can always use it for free. No? You have 10 app services that you can use for free. So yun. And ano pa ba? I think one of the free services dito is SQL Server 2019 Developer Edition. No? So what do you call this? This is not really an Azure service, but rather an on-premise software. No? Hindi ko alam kung bakit nandito to. Pero it's a suite of tools na pwede natin gamitin for data platform, for your database development. I'm saying data platform kasi hindi lang naman storage yan at hindi lang naman querying yan. Malawak yung SQL Server 2019 and mas lalo siya pinalawak with the advent of cloud. Now, let's focus first on the developer edition. Kapag sinabi nating developer edition, yan yung enterprise edition. Pero hindi mo pwedeng gamitin on a production environment. Hindi mo pwedeng gamitin yan at i-deploy sa server mo and then pag-gamit mo sa mga users mo. No? Gagamitin mo lang yan para pag-aralan yung features ni SQL Server 2019. So build, test, and demonstrate application in non-production environment. If you want to continue using SQL Server 2019 on a production environment, you have to downgrade to SQL Server 2019 Express. So yan, it's a smaller scale version of the SQL Server 2019. So pang maliit-liit na data lang siya. And hindi ko na makita kung nasaan yung, I think, hindi ko na makita yung limitation nito, but I think it's limited to 10 gigabytes of storage lang and about 2 gigabyte of RAM lang yung kaya niyang gamitin. But it has the polybase and the full text search feature. So malaking bagay yung full text na yan kasi kung meron kang requirement na complex yung string na pinapahanap, you're going to create the full text index. So aside from the SQL Server, so meron ka ng storage solution for small scale. The next is yung reporting solution mo or yung paginated reporting solution mo for the small scale na rin. And we call it yung SQL Server 2019 reporting services. So it's a separate installer. Dati magkasama siya doon sa advanced services. Ngayon, separate na siya. So equivalent siya ng Crystal Report. Microsoft Playboard Crystal Report siya. But I would say na mas madali itong reporting services compared doon sa Crystal Report. Tsaka, I'm not sure, do we have a free version ng Crystal Report? I'm not sure. But ito, 100% free yan. Whether pag-aralan mo or i-deploy mo sa production, it's free. Pero once again, the key term here is that for small scale lang siya. So you should not be expecting the Express Edition and then the reporting services to cater yung mga data na pagkalaki-laki like mga more than 10 gigabytes of data. I mean, last time na nag-save ako ng Excel na merong 10 columns and 1 million rows, hindi naman siya umabot sa 1 gigabyte. Siguro mga 100 MB lang. So I'd say that 10 gigabytes is a very generous offer now from Microsoft. Dahil, well, hindi mo naman kailangan talaga, hindi naman kasi ganun kalaki yung data natin once na relational database siya. So, for those students na nanonood ngayon, you have this free edition for the students. Kasi isa sa mga problema na mga gusto mag-try ng Microsoft Azure is that they don't have a credit card. Either students sila and not yet allowed to have a credit card or for some other reasons. So for student, may solution tayo dyan. As long as you have your .edu email, pwede kayong mag-sign up for the free version ng Microsoft Azure for Student. At ang maganda dyan, where is it? Ito. Mare-renew nyo yung Microsoft Azure for Students nyo every 12 months. I-reconfirm nyo lang na student pa rin kayo and you're still using that .edu email. Okay? So the free services are almost identical. Nandun yung mga machine learning and yung Visual Studio Code, itong virtual machine, Linux virtual machine, and then yung SQL Server database nandun pa rin naman. And yung mga file storage nandun din, managed disks nandun din. And of course, the AI stuff is also there. So kung student ka, I suggest you take advantage of the free offers that Microsoft is giving to us. So, okay, let's go now to the main event. Oh my God, talak ako ng talak. Hindi pa pala ako nagpapakilala. So, I'm Argelo Royce Bautista, a graduate of computer engineering from the University of the East. And 8 years na ako sa industry. Business systems analyst ako ngayon sa analog devices. So 2 years doon sa 8 years kong experience is web development. And ang primary tool ko ay jQuery and Angular. So after ko magawa yung web tool namin dito sa ADI, sa analog devices or ADI, pinag-excel na nila ako at pinag-Power BI. And I've been doing that for the past 6 years already. So I'm a core member of the technical communities Philippine Data Platform User Group, formerly known as the Philippine SQL Server User Group. Nag-expand na sila to capture all the possible databases and all the tech stack concerning the data platform. And programmers, developers, administrator ako dyan. So aside from that, meron din ako mga ilang certifications dito. Solutions Associate sa BI Reporting, Solutions Expert, and ito, Microsoft Certified Trainer, and Data Analyst. So mamaya itong Certified Data Analyst na yan, masasagasaan natin sa talk concerning the Power BI. So if ever na member kayo ng programmers, developers, or hindi pa kayo member, just go ahead and sign up. Ito yung Facebook links. Single M lang yung programmers namin, even if double M yung nandiyan sa logo. And if you are a seasoned data practitioner, data-related, whether data science yan or data administrator, go ahead and sign up dito sa PDP forums, which is the Philippine Data Platform forums. So, so far, so good. Let's start with the introduction to the data platform and Power BI. So yung data platform na yan, ano ba yung data platform? So ito yung website ni Microsoft that showcases the data platform technology. And it says here that the data platform allows us, an implementation of a data platform allows us to gather, store, and process data of all types and sizes and any data source. That is kung modern data and analytics platform na yan. Kung hindi kayo masyadong modern, meaning you're not utilizing the cloud, might be possible na hindi nyo ma-accomplish itong all sizes. Depende kung willing kayong mag-establish ng sarili yung data center. But that would be very costly, and very slow. So if you want na, kung na-project nyo that your company is actually going to grow exponentially, go ahead and use the cloud solution. So once na na-implement nyo yung data platform na yan, ang expectation is that makakapag-unlock kayo ng valuable insight, and it would be easier to find trends and risks, help us perform, provide quality product for customers, and cut down on business costs and optimize internal applications. So once kasi na na-store mo na maayos yan, nakakapag-gather ka, nakakapag-store ka na maayos, and na-iproprocess mo or nagagamit mo yung data analytics nyo, doon na lalabas yung fine-tuning dyan sa processes nyo. So hindi ko masabing, let's say for example na, paano ko ba sasabihin ito? Usually kasi we are having processes, usually kasi ang isang business is defined by the instructions na pinagagawa mo dun sa tauhan mo. And we call that set of instructions a process. For each step of the process, yung operator mo or yung tao mo nag-i-interact with the computer. And for each time na meron siyang interaction na ginagawa, either nagki-key in siya ng data doon sa ERP mo or nag-extract siya ng data, merong mga timestamp yun. And it allows you to get a glimpse kung gaano ba niyang katagal ginagawa yung trabaho niya. And from there, it's either a matter of aggregation na lang, either 95th percentile or average, kung ano man yung, kung by batch ba yung processing nyo or one by one. Once na nakuha nyo na yung number na yun, yung average man or 95th percentile, you can now say na, ay, 8 oras kong ginagawa yan, or ay, 24 hours kong ginagawa yan. And then your manager now would have a great idea na, can we review the process? Alin ba dito sa proseso na to yung pwede nating i-automate? Computer na ang gagawa niyan or pwede na nating i-skip all throughout dahil assured na ng computer na yung nakuha nyo is accurate. So yun, makakapag-slash off ka na ng time doon sa process mo. At doon napapasok yung sinasabi nating help us ship on time. So doon napapasok yung improvement. But in this case, it's measured in terms of time. So if you're going to get a list of materials na binibili nyo, and then yung usually the inventory, yung mga office supplies nyo, and then you're going to compare yung mga possible suppliers nyo, makikita nyo ngayon na, ay, meron palang mas mura dito. Magkakaroon kayo ng cost cutting. Or you can set matrices doon sa mga third-party service providers nyo and say na, itong si third-party A is doing this better than third-party B. So it would be more practical kung doon tayo kay third-party na mas magaling dahil mas nakakapag-provide tayo ng quality product for our customers. So, yun yung power ng data analytics. It's not enough na meron kang report dyan and nakikita mo yung graph. You need to have that person that knows how to interpret that graph. And of course, you also have that person that creates the report. So, doon tayo papasok. Yung create tayo ng report and ngunguya tayo ng data para yung mag-i-interpret, mag-i-interpret na lang. Magtatanong sa atin. So, how should I say this? With your tools right now, yung fundamental programming, tinignan ko kasi yung, nakita nyo naman kanina, nag-register ako doon sa challenge and then tinignan ko yung mga sample problems. It seems na medyo basic siya. More on the algorithmic side siya rather than on the business side. Pero yung mga business questions kasi, yung mga business problems natin is medyo simple lang. Yun nga lang malaking data ang ngunguyain mo. Of course, you can go ahead and use your programming prowess to implement a binary search tree para mas madali siyang kunin. Or you can go ahead and do some aggregating techniques. Pero those things are already done by a different application. Yung applications na yon, yung mga specialized applications na yon, is called yung data platform natin. So let's continue with this so that mas madali nating maintindihan. Kasi for each step of the workflow, there's a different application that specializes on doing its job quite good. So business intelligence, kapag meron kang data platform, the next step is business intelligence, and ayan na, access to and analysis of information to improve and optimize decision and performance. So that's basically what we talked about earlier. So this definition came from Gartner Inc. And ayan pa yung isang definition which came from the CIO magazine. So ito ang BI workflow natin. So let me start the slideshow here. Yeah. So you have your source data. So kanina si Bryan nag-talk about the Microsoft Azure Cloud, and he is a developer technology MVP. So basically, magaling siyang mag-develop ng applications. So wala dito sa workflow natin yung applications na yan. But this source data, bago yan mapasukan ng data from the user, there is a user interface which is in the form of the programs that you've developed, whether mobile yan or ERP yan, or it might be an IoT dahil nagbabato lang ng data yung ating sensors doon sa IoT. So once na nandun yan sa data source, you're going to use the ETL or extract transform load to pull the data and pull the data from the source, transform it into an efficient data model, and then put it on an efficient storage location, which is what we call the data warehouse. Yung data warehouse na yan could either be a data cube or tabular model or data marts, which is a smaller version ng data warehouse na nandoon sa local site nyo, mas malapit doon sa consumers nyo, and mas, what do you call this, mas targeted doon sa consumer yung mga data na nilalaman. Kasi kung ako nasa Pilipinas and then I have a database that has all the sales around the world, hindi ko naman kailangan yung sales around the world. Kailangan ko lang yung sales sa Pilipinas para makapag-strategize ako ng Philippine operations ko. So, ilagay nyo ko pahingi ng data from the Philippines and then I will do my analysis from that. So, that's the definition of data mart. So, from there, itong tatlong storage na to can be used by either yung reporting server natin, the SSRS, or yung iba pang middleware server, or the BI and designer clients. So, yung BI and designer client na yan could be Excel or Power BI. So, ito yung Microsoft Data Platform natin, which compose of yung mga on-premise solutions and yung mga on-cloud solutions natin. So, itong data ingestion, kapag meron kang IoT and nagbabato siya ng data, hindi ka kasi pwedeng okay. So the IoT has a very limited storage capacity kasi. So it would be better if the IoT would just throw the data to the cloud rather than store it inside them. Or pwede naman din na meron kang maliit na storage diyan pero mabilis siya mapuno kaya kailangan mo kaagad ibato sa cloud. Hindi mo pwedeng antayin yung trigger ng extraction dahil this usually spans about 1 day or so. And then you have your storage solutions. The SQL server is the on-premise and yung equivalent niya, yung SQL database na nakita nyo kanina is the on-cloud. So meron pang ibang storage solutions dyan. You have your Cosmos DB for the NoSQL and you have the data lake storage for the big data. Now, ito namang integration natin, yan yung nag-orchestrate o yung nagsasabi kung kailan gagawin yung ETL. Kung saan i-extract at kung sino ang magtra-transform or kung anong transformation ang kailangan gawin at kung saan siya ilo-load. No? So, the data integration can be in a form of SQL Server Integration Services for the on-premise solution and the Azure Data Factory for the on-cloud solution. And then you have your metadata management. So the Azure Data Catalog and yung mga data quality services natin, you have the data processing. No? So remember kanina may ETL tayo, right? So there is a more cloud-friendly version we call ELT. So nauuna yung load bago yung transformation. It's basically saying na kunin mo muna yan from your source data and then put it on the cloud and load it on the cloud. And then si cloud na ang bahala when it comes to the transformation. So yung scenario na yon is used for the big data and of course you're going to use these two. No? Yan yung big data tools natin. So sinasabi natin big data kasi mabigat ang processing niya and the assumption is that matagal na talaga siyang mag-compute. Ano? You cannot expect a big data to respond in real time sa inyo and with 100% accuracy. So once na gusto mong i-crunch yung big data mo, ayan Azure HD Insight and then Azure Data Lake Analytics. For relational data naman, you have your analysis services. So yan yung mga cubes nyo and yung mga data analysis expressions. So once that you have your cubes, it can be consumed na by your reporting. So again, reporting services for your paginated reports, Power BI for your dashboards, and then Excel for ad hoc analysis. And then you have your data science capabilities, the machine learning studio, and then our server for HD Insight. So, ang i-discuss natin today, sa dami niyan, ang i-discuss lang natin or ang papasadaan lang natin is yung Power BI. Right? Yes. Is yung Power BI. Ano? So before I continue with the Power BI, I would like to suggest na mag-register kayo dito sa Microsoft Forms na ito. This Microsoft Forms, ito yung yan, PD Power BI tenant sign-up form. So kung sa Microsoft Azure kasi magagamit niyo yung credit card niyo, hindi makakapag-register kayo, right? Dito sa Power BI hindi. Kailangan meron kayong Office 365 tenant. So kailangan nakasubscribe na kayo sa Office 365 and then only then you could get your free Power BI. You can play with Power BI. No? So kami sa programmers, developers, if you ever want to try out and enhance your skills sa Power BI, go ahead and fill up this form and bibigyan namin kayo ng PD email nyo. Of course, hindi kayo makakapag-send or makakapag-receive ng email doon, pero meron kayong Office 365 account na pwede nyong gamitin para mapaglaruan yung Power BI. So, makapag-download kayo ng Power BI and then the desktop is there free. Ang binibigay lang nito is yung capability nyo na makapag-publish ng Power BI report publicly. So this is good for proof of concepts if ever na meron kayong gustong ipawaw doon sa mga dinedemohan nyo or sa boss nyo or sa school thesis nyo, whatever. Go ahead and sign that up. And babalikan ko lang itong mga Azure services natin. So kanina nasagasaan na natin yung SQL Server. The Developer Edition has lahat ng naka-SQL Server logo rito. The Developer Edition has all of that and you can play with that for free. Yung mga iba, itong mga Azure na to, the rest is Azure, no? So you can enjoy that by signing up with the Azure. So ito yung to see those services, just click all services and then usually yung mga storage nyo, yung mga storage solutions natin is nandito. And yung blog yata, ito is under the storage account. And yung data lake storage natin is nandito. Kaya lang, this is a storage Gen 1. I guess yung Generation 2 is also on the storage account. Yung databases nakahiwalay. So, yung SQL database natin, your relational database is nandyan. And then kung gusto mo na NoSQL, you use the CosmoDB. And ano pa ba? Marami dito ito for MySQL servers and MariaDB servers. And you also have the Data Factory. Yan yung for the integration service naman. So maraming solution and I cannot talk about all of them because I myself haven't used them. And for the analytics, you have the Databricks, Data Factory, and yung analysis services. And yung Event Hub din, nandito. And finally, for the AI and machine learning, okay, this is not it. Teka lang. Ano pa ba yung hindi ko nasagasaan? I think ito. So yung mga data science capability natin nandito sa AI and machine learning. And ano pa ba? Mayroon pa ba akong kulang? So ang kulang na lang is Power BI. As you can see, wala yung Power BI dito dahil nandun nga sa Office 365. So again, sign up. Yung QR. Yung nga pala. Teka lang kailangan kong i-post. Papapost ko na lang doon sa friend ko. I think, ayan. So pinost na niya yung link doon sa chat. And we are going to review this siguro tomorrow, mga 9 p.m. I-review namin yan to see kung sino-sino yung mga nag-sign up and kung sino-sino yung gagawa namin ng account. If you already have an existing account, i-reset na lang namin yung password. So we need your email to do that. Okay? So now, moving forward with Power BI. So usually kasi, let's say na meron akong Excel file and then gusto kong kumuha ng data doon. Gusto kong gumawa ng mga, what do you call that? Mga graphs na interactive. And then gusto ko siyang i-publish for the rest of the world to see. So, hindi ko kayang gawin yun sa Excel. No? Kasi once na ginawa ko yun sa Excel, I would need a SharePoint site to upload it, and I would need to make that SharePoint site public. So not necessarily that good. And bukod doon, yung Excel natin is actually editable. So hindi siya read-only hindi siya read-only. Pwede lang babuyin yung data unless na i-protect mo yung Excel sheet mo. On the other hand, dito sa Power BI, read-only siya. So whatever na gawin ng tao doon sa report na yon will not be carried over to the other users. So what I've done right now is to select an Excel file, and then I'm trying to load it to my Power BI. So simple lang, click lang, and then makikita mo yung preview ng data, tapos i-load mo. Your license will expire in 2 days. Oh my God, that's my Visual Studio. Sige mamaya. So ayan na, kinukuha na niya yung data, and then oops, nakuha niya na daw yung data, and then ayan na, ina-evaluate na, ina-apply na yung transformation, gumagawa na siya ng tables, and ginagawa na rin niya yung relationship between the two table. Pag merong dalawang column na parehas ang pangalan, it will assume that it is a relationship. And ayan na. So, ready na siya for analysis. So, let's say na meron akong mga konting katanungan. I want this matrix. And gusto kong malaman kung ilang rows of data ba ang meron per country of origin. So, ano bang pwede kong gamitin dito? Let's say, or let's say kung ilan yung on-hand quantity natin per country of origin. So drag and drop lang siya. Tapos ilalagay ko yung country of origin ko dito sa rows. And then I would have now an idea kung gaano bang karaming units kung gaano bang karami yung quantity per the country of origin. So itong data na ginagawa natin is warehouse data. So each row of data corresponds to a stock unit. So isang maliit na box yan. And for each box, maraming quantity sa loob ng box. So we have this. And let's say na, gusto ko siyang gawing clustered column chart. Gusto ko bar chart na pataas. Okay. They call it column chart dahil patayo. And then they will call it bar chart kung pahaba. So yun yung I would say na mas sanay ako dito sa column chart. Next is, I want the same thing. But this time, instead of country of origin, yung mga planta naman. So meron kasi kaming tatlong planta. Yung planta na una namin is yung active plant, yung W plant. And then you have the SA, which is the agent, yung mga matatagal na. And then you have the SX, which is the express. So if I'm going to click the donut chart, makikita ko na, okay, malaki-laki yung kabuuan ng inventory natin is stored on our active parts. And then there's a small percentage, which is 10%, which are yung tumatanda na or agent, kung tawagin niya nila. And then as you can see, as you try to interact with this donut chart, nagre-respond si bar chart. No? So hina-highlight dito kay bar chart kung ano ba yan. So based saan ba nanggaling yung mga nag-age na part natin. So basically, yan yung sinasabi nating interactivity with yan yung sinasabi nating interactivity sa ating dashboard. So if ever na gusto ko itong i-publish, I would just click publish and then save changes. So i-override ko na lang itong Power BI na to. Save mo muna bago mo i-deploy, di ba? So papipiliin ka na niyan kung ano bang workspace mo gustong i-deploy yaang Power BI mo. So I'm not going to deploy this right now kasi meron na akong dineploy na report. Pero ang itsura noong Power BI app natin or yung pagde-deploy is ito. You have the workspace and then nandyan lahat ng mga dineploy mo. So once that you deployed a report, you would have a data set which is yung source ng report na yon, and then you have the report which is yung pang front natin. So in this case, way back last year, throwback muna tayo ng mga panahong 3,200 pa lang ang cases natin. Ano? So magaganda pa yung data ng Department of Health noon. Ano? Yung tipong kapag tinignan mo yung case 43, sinasabi niya talaga sa iyo kung ano-ano yung mga, kung saan nanggaling or kung sino-sino yung mga nakawahan ni case 43. Ngayon, wala na yata tayong ganun data. I don't know, right? Pagdating ng April, medyo napagod na ako sa mga kadatahan nila at saka sa kung ano-anong palusot na ginagawa nila. And right after na sinabi, hindi ko maalala kung sino yung si Duque yata yun, o nagmilagro si Duque na biglang bumaba yung active cases natin. I was like, enough. Ayoko na talagang simulan. No? So, good thing na kapag na meron ako ditong sample data na maganda-ganda pa. And when I say, gusto kong makita yung admitted. Yan. So, everything here is admitted. Out of the 3,109, 88 are dead, and then recovered. Ano? And then, nasan ba yun? So, recovered naman. Teka lang. Let me go back. So sa age group na 60 naman tayo. So as you can see, nagre-respond siya, including yung mga numbers natin. Total 725. 24 is dead, 8 is recovered. Ito yung mga locations nila. Nandito sa isang magandang mapa. And I think you can also interact by gender. So you have the male and the female. And kanina na we also have the search here. Buti na hindi ko na maalala kung paano ko ginagawa yun. But ano case yun na? Hindi ko na maalala yung case kanina na wala. Case 46 ba yun? Yes. No? So you also have a custom tooltip. No? Aside from the normal tooltip, kasi yan yung normal, ipapakita yung details. Ang custom is meron kang sarili mong meron kang sarili mong Power BI report dyan. And ipapakita niya yung kung ano man yung visualization ng details. The drill down for that specific na filter down to that specific set. And I think pwede ka ring magano rito. Ito, from well to let me reset first. And then dito tayo sa Rizal. Hindi siya nagaan. Dito na lang tayo. Ayan, may drill through kasi rito that it can tell you a different report about the person. So, meron kang navigation from one page to another and ipapakita niya kung paano kung tawag dito. Ipapakita niyo yung different set of informations. So in this case, ang expectation ko kanina is for example, nag-drill down ako kay case 9, makikita ko yung case links niya and kung saan siya na-admit. Okay? So yan. And paano ba? Isa sa mga binida ko is that you can share this publicly. So let's go back to our to this one. Edit. Kailangan ko muna siguro mag-edit. And then file. Publish to web. So you can, once na na-publish nyo na, you can go ahead and edit and then file. You have this published to web. So this is a public access for anyone on the internet. Ibig sabihin nun, if I copy this and then paste it on a in private window, hindi niya na dapat ako hihingan ng kahit anong credentials. I can go ahead and interact with the report. So usable na siya. So I would not suggest na gawin nyo to sa company data nyo, no? Dahil posibleng may mga pinirmahan kayo sa kontrata that prevents you from sharing the company data publicly. So I suggest na if you're going to create a proof of concept, i-present nyo na lang personally dun sa mga boss nyo. Now, if you're dealing with data na naka-public na, ayan, pwede nyo i-publish dito and ibida sa mga hackathon or sa mga tawag dito, sa mga thesis nyo. And yun. If you have secured yung approval ng manager nyo na i-publish to the public web, I guess pwede naman din yun. So, basta ang keyword is that umiwas kayo sa huwag kayong sasabit sa mga non-disclosure agreements na pinirmahan nyo. Yun lang naman ng akin. So, as you can see, yung drill through natin nandito din, and then you can change the pages and almost all the validations are there. And ang maganda niyan is that napaka-konti lang nung tawag dito, napaka-konti lang ng coding na kailangan nyo gawin. Majority of the coding na ginawa ko rito has to do with the how to transform the data. Yung ating interaction, yung mga maps na yan, they're already built in with the Power BI. And yung kanina, yung nakita nyong tawag dito, graph chart dyan, it's a custom visualization. So kung talagang matindi ang pangangailangan nyo in visualizing, you might need to either get a custom visualization or create a custom visualization yourself. So lately, naglabas na rin sila nung Charticulator. It is something that is good for for making your own custom charts. So that is aside from yung visual, what they call this, yung custom visual, yung infographic. That is aside from the infographic designer natin. And if you ever wanted to create a custom visual, pwede kang gumawa using yung JavaScript and then D3. And of course, if you're going to look at the Power BI desktop again, meron kang Power BI visual doon that allows you to code in Python. No? So ang assumption ng coding nyo doon is that ready na yung dataset, i-visualize nyo na lang. You don't need to put data cleaning or data cleansing logic doon sa mismong Python visual natin. And you also have the R visual. So again, ang assumption is that i-visualize nyo na lang. Wala nang data cleaning na kailangan. Ngayon, kung meron kayong kailangan gawing data cleaning using R and Python, ang mangyayari ngayon is that dito tayo sa get data. Let me just double check yung mga data sources natin. So dito kasi sa get data natin, you can execute in an R script. Ito, you can actually execute a Python script or an R script. No? Anything that transforms your data, gusto mong i-recycle yung R or meron kang bagay na mas madaling gawin sa R compared sa Power Query, go ahead and use R. Go ahead and use R or Python for that matter. So, ayun, open source friendly siya and okay. So, kanina nakita nyo nag-import ako from Excel, right? So, click lang and then voila, nandun na. So, anong hitsura ng code na yun if I am going to implement it ng mano-mano at isa-save ko sa SQL Server? So, eto yun. Let me look at it. Sa migration and then INO1 upload. So, INO1P. Yan. So, itong function na to, yung INO1 upload na yan, save to database. So, that's about 200 plus lines of code. At ang ginagawa lang niya is may stream siya, may byte stream siya. And then gumagawa ko ng Excel package. And then ayan, makikita nyo, hinahanap ko sa worksheet dun sa unang row ng column, sa unang row, Nasaan ba dyan yung cell na may pangalan, material number, and then kunin mo yung column number niya, and we are going to treat that as the column number for our material number column. And then ayan, for the other column names. So ibig sabihin nun, whether palit-palitan ko yung location niya sa column, maiintindihan itong program ko na yun yung column na hinahanap ko. And then we have a few validation here. Tapos sa bandang baba, you will see that I am actually mapping yung mga pinagkukuha kong value from this, yung mga pinagkukuha kong value dito. Yan. Yung mga pinagkukuha kong value, toString pa. Nilalagay ko siya sa aking object. And then yung object na yan, i-add ko doon sa list ko. And then dito sa banda rito, makikita mo yung list ko ngayon is i-upload ko na sa database. So actually dalawang sheet yung kinlik ko, di ba? So ito yung ito yung next code for the next sheets. So yung mga kung ano-anong validation, and then yung mappings, and then yung yung mappings and kung ano-ano pa, no? Kung ikaw is a programmer na talagang sanay na sa fundamentals, siguro sa unang beses na gagawin nyo to, that will be fine. Excited ka pa. Pero kapag pinaulit-ulit mo na yan for all Excel files across all sheets na makita mo, which is usually 100 sheets or so, mabuburyo ka na. Mabuburyo ka na sa trabaho mo. Para kang, it's either you're going to automate that, it's either gagawa ka na ng code generator para i-generate itong mga codes na to, or you would find a specialized tool. No? And ang sinasabi ko is that yung specialized tool na pwede nyo gamitin, one of the specialized tool na pwede nyo gamitin is Power BI. So yun. I hope that you appreciate my introduction sa data platform. And if you have questions, please go on ahead and ask away. Ay, of course. Nakalimutan ko. So nabitin ba kayo sa Power BI? I would suggest na puntahan nyo tong exam DA100, Analyzing Data with Microsoft Power BI. No? So hindi naman kayo mag-i-schedule ng certification exam. Pero sa baba kasi nitong certification exam na to, nandyan yung mga links sa Microsoft Learning na pwede nyo gamitin para i-continue yung learning process nyo. No? Ang maganda rito, for example, itong modeling data in Power BI, no? So one of the yung mga parts kasi niyan, yung mga units niya, no? You have lectures and then you have lab. No? Sign in to lunch lab. As in makakapag-lunch ka talaga ng lab sa browser mo, no? Meron kang virtual machine sa browser, and then nandyan yung mga instructions sa gilid, and makakapaglaro ka without installing anything on your laptop. Kahit kakarag-karag yung laptop nyo, as long as maganda yung internet connection nyo, magagamit nyo siya. No? So makakapag-aral kayo, and then you don't really need a powerful laptop to crunch big data. So, well, to crunch big data is to learn. So, hindi nyo pwedeng gamitin yan for production purposes, for learning lang. So, yun. I guess that's conclude my talk. Any questions so far? Type lang doon sa StackLeague. So I'm flashing now yung QR code para sa mga naka-mobile. Kung tinatamad kayo
All right, so thank you so much, Argelo, for that very informative presentation about data introduction to data platform and Power BI. So yeah, for those who are joining us via Facebook, please feel free to type in your questions in the comment section, and we'll do our best to answer that later during our Q&A session. So yeah, so moving forward to our last but not least resource speaker for this Tech session, I'd like to introduce to you the Microsoft Most Valuable Professional for Artificial Intelligence. Please welcome, let us all, without any further ado, let me introduce you Mr. John Paul Ara. JP, take it away.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Let me just set up for a bit. Hit desktop and share. I think that should be good. Hello, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, very
Cool.
clear.
Great. Right. Right. Once again, hello, everyone. Good evening. So my talk is about introduction to artificial intelligence on Azure. Now, if you've been here for the past two sessions, you've seen a bunch of stuff that technology on Microsoft can do, especially with Bryan's talk on the cloud in Azure. So in my talk, I'll talk about specifically about AI on the Azure cloud platform. So to introduce myself shortly, I'm John Polada. I'm a data engineer at IBM and currently Microsoft MVP for artificial intelligence. So let's talk AI basically. In short, it's just basically, ay, pwede ako mag-Tagalog, no? Right. Yeah, so AI basically is, to keep it simple, right? Trying to simulate or trying to emulate intelligence. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be human intelligence. It just has to be, it doesn't have to be a sentient intelligence. It just has to be something that is intelligent, like animals, for example. So it doesn't have to be human. So anything that has cognitive abilities to some extent, right? So that if you try to emulate that, you can technically think of that as an AI, right? So yun yung AI. So ano yung mga things na pwede magawa natin using AI? So here are a bunch of stuff that currently AI can do. So one, it can do object recognition. So if you like may ano ka, you have an app, for example, na may AI and you flash it something na may a sort of object, right? It can determine kung anong object yan. Like sa mga captcha natin, di ba? Like, find a picture of a boat, find a picture of a motorcycle, like parang ganon. So that's object recognition. And then speech recognition, like example would be like if may magsalita, right? You can figure out who that person is. As a person, right? As a human being, you can figure out if that person is familiar, right? If na-expose ka na sa kanila, to some extent, malalaman mo na sila yung nagsasalita. And that's something that AI can do as well. Like figure out who's speaking as long as the AI has been trained na to determine if these particular sound waves come from a particular person, right? And then text translation, this is something like translation. Like if you're bilingual or trilingual or whatever lingual, you're able to translate from one language to another, and AI can do that as well. If you can search translators online, Google Translator or Microsoft Translator. They have apps for that, right? And then searching for related stuff. So this is something interesting that usually humans are able to do pretty well. Well, most of the time, like given a particular object, like what things are related to this particular thing, right? Parang brainstorming or something like that. So AI can do that as well. Like it's a thing called cognitive search. You can search for things and then things related to those things. And then finally, we have making decisions. So given some sort of situation, right, an AI is able to decide. People are also pretty good at that. Sometimes. So an example would be something like recommendation. Like give like what do you want to what do you want to watch next? Like ano ba yung gusto panoorin next? Ano yung mara-recommend mo na panoorin natin next? So that's one thing that AI can do, making decisions. Or at the very least, making some recommendations that you can decide upon, right? Yeah. So those are some of the stuff that AI can do. So what are the other stuff that AI can do? These are the things that are traditionally when you think AI, Usually these are things that you can, it can do easily. As long as it's something that can be done by a human, it's something that can be like, you can imagine that it can be done by AI. So what are the other things that AI can do? So interestingly, wait, something on this X does not exist. So itong site na to. So AI can generate stuff like humans can generate stuff, right? So can create stuff, art and stuff, and AI can do that as well. And the awesome thing, or maybe the terrifying thing about this, is that sometimes it's really difficult to figure out if it's been created by an AI or actually real. So here's a site like this waifu does not exist, this URL does not exist. So if you can look at these things, so for example, I open this one. So it automatically generates anime waifus, and then generates human faces, right? So if you look at this, they look like real people, right? But these have been auto-generated by AI models, right? Stuff like this. So if you want to make an anime, right, and if you don't have an original character, you just hit refresh here and just like take a look at whoever flashes as an inspiration, right? They even have like um overviews. So it's pretty awesome, like what AI can do at this age. So like this resume does not exist, like you can auto generate and like a resume. So and lyrics, and kulang na lang like gawa kang lyrics, this melody does not exist, tapos these vocals do not exist. So yun, may banda ka na. gawa ka ng album, upload mo sa Spotify, puro AI generated. So that's definitely possible. People do that. Not a whole band thing, pero like something like classical music, bass lines, yeah. And may recently I've heard of something like may lyrics as automatic siya mag-generate ng from those lyrics. Yeah, that's also one thing that's possible. Yun. So let's talk naman, how do we do those things on the Azure cloud? So again, there's a lot of advantages pagdating sa cloud. So economies of scale, like basically mas mura kasi nag-bulk buy na sila, and like most of the expenses are there, so mas konti lang babayaran mo compared to ikaw mismo maggawa ng sarili mo infrastructure and stuff. So there are a lot of advantages to cloud. So see, Azure is a lot of companies, especially Microsoft has been trying to pursue AI and trying to infuse AI in everything. So when I say these are the major Azure AI services, I mean these are the flagship na when you actually want to do AI, these are the things that you do. But these are not the only places na merong AI sa Azure services. Marami pa, like from their security offerings, they have AI there, like some sort of predictive na threat protection. Tapos meron din dun sa mga databases like Azure SQL database and Azure Synapse Analytics. They also have analytics there, so like still technically predictive analytics, machine learning, so those kinds of stuff. So they have it infused there as well. So you're not limited to just these, pero ito yung major, like if yun talaga yung habol mo, yung AI talaga yung habol mo, these are the major stuff that you'd want to check out. So first is Azure Cognitive Services. These are mostly pre-built AI solutions. So gawa na sila. So basically may nandun kay Azure, so you create an account, you create a resource group or whatever, and then create your resource, Azure Cognitive Service, gawa kang service, and then you just throw stuff there to their API. So that's basically Azure Cognitive Services. They're existing na. So si Azure Machine Learning Service naman is if wala dito yung hinahanap mo sa cognitive services, you can create your own custom solutions. Okay. And then the great thing is about this is you can create, you can even like, create the models on your laptop and then deploy it there. Pero, it's your laptop. You're not a supercomputer. So better like, leverage the economies of scale. And then, you horizontally scale your training or whatever. Yeah, stuff like that. Or even just a single powerful computer. Like you can have multiple cores, like lots of cores, then GPUs, and then a lot of RAM. So you can select that as well in machine learning, in Azure machine learning. Right. So, and the next is, let's take a closer look at the Azure Cognitive Services. So ano ba yung abilities, ano ba yung kakayahan, capabilities ni Azure Cognitive Services? So there are four main areas na may specific na mga services. So first is vision. So vision is basically like what you'd expect. Like take a look at something like yung pre-built custom computer vision API. You take a look at stuff and it usually would understand what that thing is. So if you want to, like or detection, right? That's also part of it. Like computer vision API, you can detect if there are people. For example, you can do something like detect how many people are in a particular place. So ayun. So pre-built computer vision API that should do the job. And then there's also the custom vision API. Pag hindi enough yung computer vision, like if it's something na specific case sa'yo, right? That's where you would use custom vision API. We'll take a look at this later. And then face and emotion recognition. So take a look at a person's face and then like memorize what this person looks like. So like if gagawa kayong like research or maybe like thesis capstone na like attendance, automatic attendance or whatnot. Yun, so that's one thing. So another thing sa custom vision API, if you want to do something like detecting if a person has a mask or not, or naka-face shield or not, medyo mahirap yan. Pero yeah, kung naka-face shield or naka-face mask, you determine if person has that or both. Custom vision API is the way to go. Yan. Then form recognizer is also pretty great sa businesses. For example, kasi like form recognizer can recognize most forms na standard, but also you can train it to recognize forms na hindi pa niya encountered before, which is awesome. So if my business kayo and you want to like automate a bunch of stuff, this is pretty interesting to check out, form recognizer. The video indexer naman is parang custom vision din pero for videos. More of like categorizing like what this particular video is, or these pieces of that video. Yun. So video indexer. And the next is speech. Speech is what you'd expect, speech to text, text to speech, and then speech recognition. Ito yung most interesting, speech recognition to me. Kasi like determining how sino yung nagsasalita. And then there's also, amazing ko din yung text to speech. If you haven't heard of yung current na text to speech ni Microsoft, it's like, amazing. Wait lang. Azure text to speech. Ginagamit ko to like yung page nila kasi like you can try it out for free. Tapos you can just paste text in there. So let's try natin to. Like, let's copy this. And then okay mo na. Then try natin to. Kasi like it's difficult to differentiate na kung tao talaga nagsasalita. So you can replace this and then I'll say, so pick the neural ones. Yan. English. I'm not sure if you will hear this, but I hope you do. Right? It's difficult to determine if the person talking is an AI or not. So let's try to listen to that again. See, like it's if you're gonna listen to it, it's like it's a real person's talking, right? So parang totoong tao talaga. So that's what's interesting. So when I tried this out, like ganito na pala yung ano. It's ganito na sa point na to umabot yung ano, yung AI technology na parang tao na talaga yung nagsasalita. And then if you like you can use this as parang read to me pag tamad kayo magbasa ng article, copy paste dito tapos play and just listen to it. And you can even adjust the speaking speed and the pitch, right? Yun. So then we have language. We have translation, language understanding, Q&A maker, and text analytics. I'm interesting dito. So language understanding dito, you can this is something like, but when you say something, you can train your model, your AI to understand what you're trying to say. Right? Ano yung gusto mong gawin? Like if you say like, tell me the weather today, or what's the weather tomorrow? So like it knows or sabihin mo like, how are the skies tomorrow? Or like, it can understand na you're talking about the weather. So parang ganun. So that's language understanding. Q&A maker naman is a bit interesting and also very time saving. So you can like, pwede kang gumawa ng chatbot of sorts na pwede mong kausapin. And then you can do that, you can create that by like providing it an FAQ page. Tapos babasahin na yun, then that. And it's also available for a bunch of different languages. Ayun. And the next is we have decision. So anomaly detection, content moderation. If you like accidentally like flash porn, so it will like delete it. So content moderation, or if somebody speaks like very offensively, in the comment section, if you you can like track that down or whatever. And then personalizer, some sort of recommendation that learns through how you act, like, so that's personalizer. So what's next? Ayun. So we've talked about yung cognitive services, no? So they are basically pre-built, except some of them which you can train yourself, like custom vision API, and then form recognizer and Q&A maker. Apart from like a language understanding, like sa Q&A maker, if nagkamali ka, you can retrain it with the other utterances na binigay ni user. Ayun. So and then, so if you want a custom solution na wala dun sa mga cognitive services, you can try Azure Machine Learning. So merong 4, pero hindi lang naman to, pero I just generalize these 4. Parang major offers na meron si machine learning, parang that's so markety offers. Pero ito yung basically na most features niya, right? So first is visual model builder. If you're lazy and lahat ng need mo naman is supported visual model builder, is then you can take a look at it and then drag and drop stuff to create it, right? So that's one thing that you can do. So you can drag input, and then you can drag processing steps, and then you can train the model after nakapasal dun sa steps na yun. And then after that, you can create you can create a model from that. Tapos automatic deploy mo na din. And then it's deployed on you can create your own clusters, pero like it's deployed on a Kubernetes cluster or on a single Docker image, which is usually pag nagde-dev ka. Yun. And then Jupyter Notebooks, if hindi ka satisfied dito sa visual model builder mo, you can do it yourself. You can code it yourself in Jupyter Notebooks. And then since na doon ka sa Jupyter Notebooks na machine learning, ni Azure Machine Learning, you can call the Azure Machine Learning SDK. It's already installed there sa notebooks, and then just deploy it. And then may again same as dito sa visual model builder, but I think you have more control. This Jupyter Notebooks is like you can create your own environment, anong laman ng containers mo when you deploy it to the cluster. Yun. So you have a bunch more control dito sa Jupyter Notebooks. And then we have end-to-end MLOps sa Azure Machine Learning. So these are all connected. connected to sa lahat ng to. Ito yung parang like overall framework to some extent. Merong data management, merong cluster management, model management. You can do that so you can version your data, version your models, and then you can do something like pag may data drift, you can take note of that as well and use it to retrain your models. Ayun. And then next is we have finally AutoML, yung pinaka-lazy sa lahat. So bigay data, ito yung gusto kong output, then poof, model. Yun na. Wala kang gagawin. Just plug, play. That's it. You can tweak it a bit, pero not to the extent na like gagawin mo sa Jupyter Notebooks or sa Visual Model Builder na like dito like just plug and play, you're done. And it actually it depends on the tasks, right? Pero a lot of the tasks is it performs pretty spectacularly. Although may limitation siya, syempre. You can only perform specific tasks, not all tasks. So like if you're planning to build something like this waifu does not exist, generate a waifu every refresh, that's something that you can't do with AutoML or Visual ML Model Builder. You have to do that in Jupyter Notebooks. But then you can leverage the end-to-end MLOps, like create your own clusters that can be used for yung training and the deployment nung models mo from Jupyter Notebooks. Ayun, so that's AML. And then next is we'll take a look at how do we do custom vision API. I think ito yung parang para sa akin ito yung pinaka midway. So ito yung gusto kong tingnan. This is also interesting. Kasi like it's not completely pre-built and it's also not completely like handmade. So you have to train it yourself. So let's take a look at this. Yan. Custom vision API. So first off, punta akong portal.azure.com. I think I have time. I hope. And so let's open this up for now. So first thing we'll do is create tayong resource. So, no, I'm in the wrong place. Create a resource. Could have created something else. Pero, sige, diretso na lang tayo. Makikreate din naman natin to doon later. So, when nasa default view ni Microsoft Azure portal, we can search for stuff in here, like anong gusto natin gawing resource or like ano yung gusto natin i-open na resource. And dito naman, we can select like, the marketplace, kung anong gusto natin gawin. So this falls under AI machine learning, pero mas mabilis na i-search natin custom vision. So we search custom vision. Yan, so dito na tayo. Then we hit create. Yan, so dito we can select if gusto natin mag-training or prediction. Pero like gusto ko makita both na sa screen na to. So let's go. So ayan, pick a subscription, whatever works. And then you can create a new one. So I can create one called StackLeague demo. Then okay, hit okay. Name. Okay, so yung gagawin natin dito sa demo na to is to figure out natin kung is gagawa tayo ng AI or model, machine learning model, right? Na magdi-differentiate between corgi butts and bread. If alam niyo yung meme na yun, you know what I'm talking about. Pero if you want to take a look at it more closely. So ito, this is a picture of bread, right? And then corgi butts. So we'll try to differentiate. We'll try to see if kakayanin ni AI i-differentiate kung nakikita ba niya is corgi or bread. Okay? So again, corgi, tapos yung bread. So yeah, you know. Okay, so yun. So we'll try to differentiate. So yun yung gagawin natin. So we'll call it corgi or bread. Is it? No, I hope not. Come on. Oh no! Corgi or not corgi. I don't know. I hope it's not. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So we can use like Southeast Asia for Southeast Asia. So this is a free tier. So kung titingnan natin to, we have a free tier na 2 transactions per second. So if you want to use it, that's totally possible. If you want to just try it out for development, that's cool. You can do that. So we can hit free, right? Okay, sure. And then review plus create. I think wala na tayo yeah, that's basically it. Let's just let it load for a bit. Hope it doesn't take too long. Okay, created na yung prediction service. Yun, done. Perfect. Now, we can hit go to resource. And then we can go to our custom vision portal. So again, ito yung dashboard ng quick start pag ma-open natin. And then you can open your API keys, but first we'll go to custom vision portal. So this is a different site, separate site from the Azure portal where you can create your custom vision. So you need to log in. I'm already logged in. So in here, so ito na yung na-create ko na. And then hit new project and we'll create one. So corgi or not corgi. Leave the description blank. And then resource. I'll call it corgi or not corgi. Pop. Yeah, I think that should be fine. Then classification, object detection. So you can pick one. Object detection is just creating bounding boxes over like objects. So we want classification instead of the object detection one, right? And then multi-label or multi-class. This is kung may multiple labels yung yung object mo. So in this case, it's just either corgi or bread. Tapos it can't be both corgi and bread. So multi-class tayo. It's not multi-label. And then you can pick one dito kung if it's food or landmarks or retail. I've had good results with A2, the general A2, so I can pick that one. And these ones, yung compact, these are for when you're doing if you want to plug it into your like mobile apps para mas mabilis yung processing. Like embed mo sila, hindi ka yun. So you can do that. Create project. That was bad. Sound trip yung kapitbahay. All right. So give me a sec. Custom vision. Oh, it's taking a while. Come on. Oh, Oh, it's taking a while. Yun, there we go. Yun. So then, welcome to the workspace ng Custom Vision. So we can start by adding images, right? Yan. Tapos, so in this case, wala makita. This is corgi, right? So we can select all of them. I'm going to leave 2 out or like, you know, whatever. Para ano, ito yung magiging test natin later pag i-test natin siya. So ayan, so makita natin, nito yung mga images, and then I can hit tags na corgi siya. Now, meron din tag na negative. This is pag mag-add ka na, gusto mo mag-add ng parang, ng something object na parang similar sa mga ano, sa mga tinatry mo i-differentiate, pero not really, hindi talaga sila. So it's something that wala doon yung target mo. So ito naman, I'm pretty sure these are corgis, right? So I can hit upload 16 files. It's gonna take a while. Yan. Uploaded. Wow, that was quick. Okay. And then we're not done yet. Makikita natin dito yung mga images pag mag-load. Pero for now, let's go to, ayun, nag-load na. Let's go to bread. Tada. And then open. And then we'll tag these as bread. Ayan. And then upload them. Yan. So we can filter, right? Ano gusto natin makita? Bread lang, corgi lang, or both. We can also have untagged images. So upload lang natin. But for now, this works. And then we can hit train. So you can select training, or you can select how long you want to train with advanced training. So you can say something like, you know, 24 hours, whatever. Let's go train. Ayun. So training na siya. So let's wait for 24 hours. No. No, we don't need that. Punta lang tayo dun sa projects natin. Kasi may naka-ready na ako for this demo. So yan. So ito yung ano natin, ito yung project natin na ginawa, corgi or not corgi. But I also have one na trained na, which is so cute. Let's open this one. Train corgi or bread. Yun. So if we take a look at this, same images. And then let's take a look at performance. So dito natin makikita yung ano, yung performance niya, and that's 100%, and that's very, very suspicious. Usually yung joke is if it's 100%, it's like it's wrong. There's something wrong. May nangyayari, may mali, may something. Yun. So now if like assuming gawa na to, and di ka pa nagpa-publish, you can hit this publish. Ayoko kasi baka mag-iba yung URL. I'm not sure. Tapos after you publish, right, it takes like what, 2 seconds. Mabilis lang to. Tapos if you click prediction URL, papagal. Yan. So makikita mo dito yung anong need mong gawin. So you have 2 options. One is use this URL. Tapos figure out mo yung ano, you can specify an image URL, right? So and then same, you need to provide these headers. You need to specify na prediction key, and then yung ano, yung prediction key, which is actually provided dito sa ano, if you go to your keys, API keys. Yun, and then you specify na yung type is application JSON. Okay. So next is you can specify a file itself. You can pick a file itself. Okay. Then do you think the different thing is, instead of application JSON, is content type mo is application octet string. Okay. So this basically means you're uploading a file, a binary, right? And then prediction key is still the same. Yun. So nag-iba dito is yung URL, yung content type, and yung body. Yung body mas image file na instead of na yung URL ng file na ipipredict mo. Okay. So and then you just send a post request to this URL. Okay. This has been filled in already because marami pa ditong stuff na usually binibigay. And if you used yung instead na classification, detection na pinili mo, you have a different set of APIs, different set of URLs. Ayun. So let's try this out, shall we? Okay. So kung titingnan natin yung code natin dito. Todo, where is it? Ayun. So let's just close this out. So these are, I'm using, this is the rescript, if familiar kayo. So I'm creating types for my functions and data. So this is a rescript React. So if you take a look at this is JSX, just things. So if titingnan nyo dito, input, tapos I have an on change pag mag-upload ako, and this is of type file. So I can upload a file. So yung ginagawa ko dito is I'm using yung kanina na direct file yung ina-upload. Hindi na mag-send ako ng URL. Yan. So yun yung gagamitin ko. So if you take a look at that, dito yun. Ito yung URL, ito yung key, and then yung content type. Okay. And then dito, so pag mag-upload tayo, matitrigger si on change. Matitrigger si on change, which is this one. Tada! On change. Yeah. So then, kukunin ko lang yung file from the event. Isa lang naman yung file na yun. So get the first file. And then set ko yung image para mag-display dito kay image na to. So meron akong where is it? Meron akong new state na hook. Tapos I have an image, set an image. Then I'm setting the image first to none, and then pag mayroong file, I will set it to that file. Ayan. So and then dito nagfe-fetch ako given yung new file na nakuha ko from uploading, and then the content type, which is Octastream kasi binary yung upload natin, and then the key, which is nandun sa taas. Ideally nasa dapat to, sa environment. So either sa environment, so provide nyo to sa CI nyo. Yun. So pero may dadali ko lang. Anyway, ayun. And then so process natin. After yung response pa-process natin, dito I cheated a bit. So I used the plain JavaScript. So kinuha natin yung response, and then yung JSON form ng response, and then kung nag-error man, whoops, may error. Yun. And then process JSON. So yung process natin is ito. So we're just for each prediction, kinuha natin yung predictions, and then for each prediction, di-display lang natin basically. Ayan. With yung yung probability na yun yung like yung picture based sa corgi or bread. Right? Yun, so that's basically it. If you have questions dito, tanong lang kayo after this session. Pero tingnan natin. Let's take a look at this in action. So nandito yun. Custom Vision API. So choose file. So we can open this. I think we're good. And then yung mga in-exclude natin is yung number 2. Kasi if we select the other ones, it's already memorized that. So it's definitely almost with 100% certainty na alam niya pag yung pinili natin is yung training data natin. Kasi yun yung inaral niya. Okay? So yung check natin is yung hindi niya inaral, which is yung mga number 2 na mga photos, yung mga images. Okay? So let's open this up and magdi-display siya dyan. Ayun, mabilis yung internet ngayon. Nag-display siya ngayon. Ayun, 99.68% sure it's a bread. And then it's 0.05% sure it's corgi. Okay. So let's take a look at something else. And then, nasa bread tayo, data, corgi. Open natin yung number 2. Yun. 99.96% sure it's a corgi. and 0.03% sure it's bread. Okay, so sure siya na corgi nito. I actually, when I was building this, I wasn't sure if ma-recognize niya properly. But it turned out pretty well. So mag-download tayo from the net. Like corgi and like or bread picks. Eto, hindi pa niya ito na-encounter. Pero tingnan natin kung magawa niya, no? Yung ano na to. Plain white bread. Wala tayong data na ganito eh. Save image as. Sure. You can do that. Ay, bakit? Keep. Okay. That's new. Okay, choose file. Tapos, dito sa downloads. Okay, bread one. So wait for it. Mabigat ba to? Ayun, 99.99% it's sure it's bread. And then 0.03% it's corgi. Okay. Alright. Parang di nag-alap yung percentages pero nag-round off kasi ako. So, ayun. Okay. Ayun. So, corgi. Mas mahirap siguro yung corgi. Tingnan. Picks. Yeah, sure. Let's pick this one. I'm pretty sure it's gonna determine that it's it's corgi, but let's see. Yeah, 99.98% sure it's a corgi. It's doing pretty well, right? It's doing pretty well. And 0.04% sure it's bread. Okay, cool, great. So far wala pa tayong mistakes. Great. Yun, awesome. So that's it for our demo. Does anybody have a piece of paper? Yeah. So does anybody have any questions? How do I know if there are questions? So how do I know? May questions tayo.
All right. So thank you, JP, for that very interesting topic when it comes to artificial intelligence on Azure. So to all our viewers right now, if you have questions, this is the time that it's now the time that you can ask your questions in the comment box, and we'll do our best to answer that questions right now. All right, so we do have one question from Facebook. If we have the free trial version, can we still use the web app? So I've seen some of one of our MVPs answered it earlier that yes, you can use that up to 10 web applications. So
sorry.
mhm.
Yeah, okay. So I'm assuming that what he said was that was those this web application is actually running on local, so if you can say it's local host. But you can deploy this. I think the answer which was posted yung 10
Yes.
10 apps, that is yung free sa Azure App Service. You can deploy this. Okay, but that is also as easily, if you build it like this, right? You can also easily do that dun sa app service, right? So you can just You can just set it up. May ano din to eh. If tingnan nyo dito yung ano, app service. Ayun, ay, nandun na pala eh. Azure App Service ito. So you can install this, and then if you have an application, like for example, if it's Python based, or if it's JS based, like Node based, you can easily use App Service. And if free use, kahit the free user ka lang ni Azure, you have 10 apps you can build at a time. Ayun. But for testing purposes, you can do local. But if you magde-deploy ka na, you can use yung Azure App Service. But yung web app na to. Pero yung custom vision, ito naman is, well, you can use this for free. Yung ano lang is you can only have 2 transactions per second. So if you're only testing it out, like for development purposes, that's good enough. That's already good enough. Na like make 2 transactions per second. And then if you want to do it in production na, you can use the standard one.
Alright.
And the code for this is, papalitan ko to soon enough kasi nandito.
Go ahead, JP.
You can take a look at this here, yung code.
Feel free to share your screen.
I'm not sharing ba? Yeah, it's... Wala ba? Yeah, just, yun, John will add the /custom vision demo. Just take a look at it at GitHub. Yun. Any more questions?
All right, so we don't have any more questions for JP. So once again, thank you so much, JP, for joining us for this tech session. So
Yeah, thank you for having me.
all right, so to all our viewers on Facebook and joining us tonight for this Microsoft Tech session, it's on behalf of Microsoft Philippines and the StackLeague organizers. We'd like to thank you for joining us tonight, and I hope you learn a lot about Azure basics, about data platform, and how you can create custom vision on Azure and artificial intelligence. And as a recap, so you can create your own account and get 12 months of popular free services and $200 credit that you could explore on any Azure service. You just have to go to azure.microsoft.com/en/us/free. And right after the trial, you'll be able to get a lot of services that you could create, creating your solutions on Azure. And aside from that, we have Microsoft is offering free trainings. We call it the Microsoft Virtual Training Days, wherein we'll be able to learn a lot from our Microsoft subject matter experts, and we'll get to participate on different Q&A sessions and expand your understanding on the Microsoft Cloud Platform. So some examples of some of our virtual trainings are AZ900, which are Azure fundamentals, data fundamentals, artificial intelligence fundamentals, and a lot more. Even on analytics, we do have also trainings for that. You just have to go to aka.ms/msph events for you to be able to register on our virtual training days. This is all at no cost. And some of the fundamentals training has free certification voucher once you completed the training. So I hope you'll register to these trainings because you will learn a lot and get certified right after the training. All right. So, uh, as for the I've seen a lot of questions about the digital certificate. Uh, we'll be giving it upon our request. So, our Stack League team will be emailing you an information on how you can request for a digital certificate. So, once again, on behalf of Microsoft Philippines and Stack League, thank you for joining us here at the Microsoft Tech session, and I hope you're all is well with you, and please stay safe. And once again, good night, and have a great week ahead. Thank you, everyone. Good night.